I'm Vonda Nelson. I'm a recreation specialist here at Meadowlark Senior Center, and we're glad that you could come so close to the holidays. Today we thought we would spend a little bit of time sharing some stories that I know sometimes people tell stories at Thanksgiving when their families are all gathered or at other family gatherings, and sometimes you find yourself telling the same stories and some of your family members have heard them and heard them and heard them and maybe aren't as receptive as they once were. And so we thought we'd provide a venue for you to tell and share your stories with others. To get things rolling, I thought I'd share just one little story from my childhood. It's about bats. We lived kind of in a rural area, and there were bats, first of all, in our little movie theater, which proved to be fun and scary. We would be watching a movie and the bats would swoop down and then the whole theater would go, "Ooh!" And then we'd continue to watch the movie because everybody knew that there were bats in the theater and it was just part of the experience of going. But one night, my family came home from visiting, and we went upstairs and there was something flying around in the bedrooms, and my brother said, "A bird, a bird!" And the bat hit the wall and fell behind one of the beds, and my brother swooped under the bed, and there was this silence. He said, "That ain't no bird."
So I arranged to get an interview with Bob Feller, which is really neat because people of your generation or your parents' generation remember Bob Feller. He grew up in Van Meter, Iowa. After his junior year in high school, he was pitching in the major leagues for the Cleveland Indians. Then he went back, graduated from high school, and joined the Indians again. And I think it was the day after Pearl Harbor, he went and enlisted in the Navy. And he wasn't one of the guys that was playing recreation ball stateside like Joe DiMaggio. He was on the USS Alabama firing machine guns and stuff at the Japanese. So he was a real war hero. He probably lost 3 years of his career, and which would have been another 50 or 60 wins. He's in the Hall of Fame with less than 300. But he was what Tom Brokaw called it, the greatest generation. He was a literal hero in baseball and in WW2. So I arranged to meet him at what was then the Hilton Hotel in Albuquerque at University of Manal, and I'm up there in his hotel room, and he's such a nice guy, and he's showing me his old wind-up, how he'd do this, and I thought, wow, my dad, a lot of guys would kill to be sitting here with Bob Feller doing the wind-up.
When we saw the next snowbank, it was an opportunity for more fun. So we sped the car up a little bit, angled for the snowbank, and the snow flew and the car skidded, and we had a glorious time. And so then we had the habit, and we had to do the rest of the banks on the way home. So one after another, each was a little different, but all involved flying snow in a skidding car. When we were about a quarter of a mile from home, we spotted another snowbank, but this one was different. There was no high bank, and the resulting soft snow was not so deep, maybe to 1 or 2 feet, maybe 18 inches, somewhere in there. And we wondered what would happen if we did that with the car. It came further across the road and was quite wide. So we took a shot at it, and the car ran up the bank like it was on skis and came to a stop and settled down, packed the soft snow under the car until it supported the car. And the car was then up in the air like it was on a grease rack, and the wheels would just spin freely. So we were stuck and we knew it. And we were in trouble. So we couldn't think of a way out, didn't have a shovel to dig out from under the car. And we were feeling a bit guilty for getting ourselves in such trouble. And as we sat there contemplating our fate, a farmer with a team of horses pulling a bobsled came by and offered to pull us out. And we said, no, we did this and we'll get ourselves out. But the farmer insisted, he kept insisting that he could get us out easily. And I guess he was eager to do a good deed for the day. So he was so convincing that we did our good deed for him by allowing him to pull us out. And so he was well equipped, had a chain, hooked onto the car, and we were soon on our way.
This story happened at my first job, and it was the time of the 60s. And what happened is I used to bring my guitar, which I was learning, and we would go in the conference room around lunchtime, and we'd do folk singing. Well, we did this most every day, and then one day after lunch, the boss, as we used to call him, came out and he said, I want to talk to you. And I thought, oh, this doesn't sound good. And he closed the door of the office, and he closed the second door between the lobby and the other people, and he sat down. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get fired for sure. And so I sat down and I said, what would you like to see me about? And he said, well, I want you to go get your guitar, and I want you to sing me a fast song and a ballad, an up-tempo number and a ballad. And I said, right here, right now. And he said, yes, right here, right now. So I went and got it, and I said, okay. So I sang a fast one and a slow one, and he said, that was very good. And I said, thank you. Well, I was trying not to have my voice shake. And so he said, how would you like to entertain at our Christmas party? And I said, well, that would be very nice. How many people do you expect at the Christmas party? And he said, well, we're going to invite all our branch offices. And so there should be maybe about almost 400 people.
Oh.
And I said, oh. And he said, well, do you think you can do it? And I said, well, I'll have to train and practice, and I'm kind of just starting on the guitar. And he said, I really think you can do it. And I said, okay, well, I'll practice, and I'm going to say yes. And I said, that's a stretch, but I'm going to say yes. So he said, okay. And I said, but tell me where the party's going to be. And he said, at the Waldorf Astoria. And I said, oh, that's nice. Well, anyway, came the day of the party. Well, we all were dressed up, and the president of the company was a Mormon. So he had his 10 children and his wife, and they were all sitting right in front of me, and all the other people were around, and a lot of people I didn't know from the other offices. So I had worn my psychedelic gown, and this was my first job. So I was all set with my empire gown and my shoes with the rhinestones and the whole deal. So anyway, so I sat down and they served us dinner. And so I put my dinner on my chair and pushed it under the table because it's not good to eat a full meal and then go sing. So I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna put that there. And I was kind of talking to myself. And then I opened the guitar case and took out the guitar and closed the guitar case and started to walk across the ballroom floor. And then I felt something tugging on my long gown. I looked behind me, and I had closed my gown in the guitar case. And I was dragging the guitar case along. So anyway, I got to the bottom of the stairway up to the stage, and I started to ascend the stairs, and I put my foot into the hem of my gown and almost tripped right up the stairs. I couldn't extricate myself from that, so two of the fellows I knew from my office came and helped me take my foot out of my gown. So then I went ahead up to the top of the stairs, and the vice president was up there, and he said, well, I'm going to introduce this young lady. She is our receptionist, and he gave my name. He said, this is Robin, our receptionist. And so I turned around, and I had the guitar around me at that point, so I turned around and I El Kabonged him right in the stomach.